Welcome to Business Unveiled Podcast. This is the place where we help overwhelmed, time-starved entrepreneurs like you make the profitable shifts to get more done and get more out of life. I'm your host, Angela Proffitt, award-winning 8-figure entrepreneur and CEO. And in every episode of Business Unveiled, I'm bringing you conversations that will give you the expertise and strategies that will scale your team and business so you can get shit done. That's GSD in our world. So get your time back and grow a business that helps you be present in your life. Let's do this, y'all.
Okay, so next we're going to go to 10 to 15.
Okay, 10 to 15. 10 to 15. So, I was still in the season of just accepting my sister passing away.
Yeah.
And you were talking about a teacher, your kindergarten teacher, which made me think of one of the most important people in my life and changed my life so much for the better is my guidance counselor in elementary school. And I wasn't like super close to her until after my sister passed away, but she gave me like a place to go like during the day. Like if I was just like feeling sad or like trying to like contemplate things or like, I don't know, just in my thoughts. Yeah. And she was like, you can always come to my room. And she didn't just let me just sit. Like, she had this thing called the card shop, and it's like the first business I ever worked. It wasn't really a business.
Oh my gosh,
it was for kids.
love it.
But basically, all these people would like donate cards. Yeah, so all these people would donate cards, and she had like this rack of cards in her room, and she needed somebody, like she would open it on like Fridays at like 2 before school got out or something, and she needed someone to like go in and organize them. And me being like super organized and like needing something to do to get my mind off stuff, I would go to her room and we would talk, and I would organize the cards and make sure that like the get well were together.
I love it.
The I love you and the happy birthday, like they were all together.
And you feel so good after you do it. Oh my
and when she got new cards in, I would go and organize them. And so she just became like truly one of the most influential, wonderful, best friend people in my life. I still have dinner with her and her husband. Like, they're the sweetest people.
She's a root.
She was, and she is. She's amazing. And so so that was 10, and then I went on to middle school, and middle school is awkward for everybody, and it wasn't the most fun time. But it wasn't awful either. It's just an awkward time. I got my first cell phone.
Was it like a brick?
No, but it was like a little purple flip phone, and you couldn't do anything on it. Like, you could call, and
you couldn't even text.
You couldn't really text. Like, it was one of those things where it's like you have to press the button 4 times to get to a Y, or like.
Yep. Oh my God.
You got charged by like a text message.
By the number of characters.
Yeah. I danced in middle school. A lot of friendship drama in middle school. Like, I discovered that girls are nasty, but I was still friends with them.
Yeah.
Like, we were just like...
We didn't know any better.
Yeah,
we don't know any better.
At each other all the
okay.
time.
You don't know any better.
What is that? Oh, he's blowing on a conch.
It's called a conch, right? Or conch? How do you say it?
I think you're right. A conch.
Conch?
A conch shell? Why would you want a shell that someone's had their mouth on?
Well, we'll wrap up your 10 to 15.
Yeah, so 10 to 15. I can't remember like all that much. Like, I think it was just learning about myself and like, puberty and shit. And I had a Dolly Parton themed birthday party. Oh my God, 10 to 15, I became vegetarian.
Oh my God, how could you just remember that?
I know. It's such an ingrained part of my life. Technically pescatarian. I only eat fish when I know that's coming from like a good source. But when I was 14, before I started high school, it was the summer before I started high school, I remember I ate my last burger, and it was from McDonald's. And I looked at it because like I was with my friend, and like her dad like bought us lunch or something. And I looked at it and was like, this is so gross.
Yeah.
And I watched.
It's so gross.
Like, I think it was Food Inc.
So gross.
Yeah. Food Inc. was the documentary that I watched. And for me, like, it always came down to, one, cows are my favorite animal. I don't know why. I just think they're so freaking cute.
They are.
So I was like, I would be a hypocrite if they're my favorite animal and I eat them. So it started with cows. I stopped eating beef, and then I quickly stopped eating everything else. And it was mostly just because of, like, my thoughts on the food industry in America and factory farming and how you are what you eat, and why would I want to put something into my body that has lived a stressful life. That's like me bringing stress into my life through what I'm eating. And also,
Why would you do that?
Exactly.
Because it tastes fucking good.
And not that I ever would. I've been vegetarian / pescatarian ever since. Mostly plant-based. I don't really eat much fish at home. But yeah, ever since, like, that's always been my thing.
But how did it make you feel? Like, from completely, like, how long did it take you? Like, was it like a week? Was it like
It was
6
not
weeks?
long. Like, I'm a very determined and committed and loyal person.
Yep.
So when I make up my mind about something,
you do
I
it.
generally don't change it.
Yep.
And so I think it shocked my mom, because she was kind of like, I don't know what to cook for you.
Right.
Because you got to think, this was almost 15 years ago. And the world did not cater to people who were plant-based.
Absolutely
like,
not.
I would go to the grocery store and not know what to eat. Like, I would get bags of, like, frozen vegetables.
But let me just pause here really quickly, because this is very important to say, because this wasn't that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that nowadays, for us, it is much easier to go anywhere and say, oh, you're pescatarian or you're plant-based.
And I'm gluten-free.
Or I'm gluten-free. And they're like, okay, got it. And a lot of things on menus, they all have. But guess how that happened? It was a person. It was one person.
It was through a lot of people adopting the lifestyle.
Yep. And then 2 people, and then 3 people, and then 4 people feeling better. And then those people who were willing to take a risk, knowing that they were taking a risk by opening businesses and opening grocery stores. I mean, there's a guy that opened Turnip Trump who's an EO member, and now he has so many of them. Like, I can't even keep up with how many locations. But it's like, he started with one itty-bitty little plant-based grocery store. I mean, now they have other things and they've grown, but it's just like, if you have an idea, because a lot of people that listen and watch, I mean, they're entrepreneurs or they're burning to do something. If this is where, if something is personal to you and it has changed your life,
It's going to change someone else's.
yeah, tell somebody. Anyway.
Yeah, like, for me, it really does come down to, like, the treatment of animals. Like, I love animals so much. Like, I think that, I do understand, like, and I am religious, like, I think that God put them here for us, but I also think that it's our job to respect them and take care of them.
Yeah.
And so when I learned about farming in America, like, it just broke my heart and I just couldn't support it. So not that I would ever eat meat again, but if I did, I would prefer to get it from, like, a local farmer or somewhere where I know that they took good care of their animals and they were kind to their animals. Over time, like, an experience in the world becoming more adapted to it, it's much easier now, and I've learned so much about what my body needs, whereas then I didn't know, and I was just like, I'm just not going to eat meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My experience of shockingness was when one of our clients in the middle of the pandemic was like, come up to Oklahoma to a cow auction and we're going to get some cows and we're going to open a venue.
And these are beautiful cows.
Oh my God, these cows get blowouts. Like
literally, they're so fluffy.
They're beautiful, but these cows are for different purposes. These are not cows that are being fed to be slaughtered to be served to humans. They produce semen, and they sell their semen, and it's like a matchmaker of these different animals, and they like make these other baby calf children that just output so much great stuff.
Genetics. Cow genetics.
That's a better way to say it. Yeah, I just say
no, but you're right.
But that's what it. But I was just like shocked. I was just in shock. Like I was just
at how they had them
everything
like in there. And
I didn't understand what the stock
yard
was, which I'm thinking stock market, which it is kind of like stock. I mean, the industry of cattle and the industry and the business models behind. I just learned so much in 3 days, and it changed my life forever to like have that information of like, oh God, I don't know.
So Angela.
Yes, Amanda.
What was life on your timeline for years 10 to 15?
10 to 15?
That's
we're
what we're
only
on.
10 to 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, these damn birds.
Oh my God, if you guys could only see what is happening right now.
You can't eat that fruit.
I know. So 10 to 15 was pretty big, I think, because this is the age where I started to understand that my dad did something that wasn't normal. And I started to learn things like, we would be in a courtroom, we would be in hospitals, we would be in surveillance vans, like just not normal things at all. And so you start to realize that. And then I started to be around in the summers, on the Gulf Coast, my uncle more, and understood that he ran a wedding business. And what started as a little floral shop ended up being this one-stop shop that he just kept building onto and building his real estate. And so I started to kind of understand, but that's when you get towards the age of 15, people are asking you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was a gymnast, because at that time I got into gymnastics, I got into cheerleading, I became a gymnastics coach. I started teaching when I was 13 years old. And then working with team, and it's a discipline. And having ADHD, kind of bad, we put tools in place like calendar time blocking and focus. It helps us focus, and working from a treadmill desk, because that helps us focus and helps me focus. So there's all these things in place, but that's one thing that gymnastics taught me. And so that was kind of my core, where I had my first job. I couldn't even drive, but my schedule, that's where I really started to experience how to manage a busy schedule, but do 10 different things, because my parents had me going from, you go to school, then you have cheerleading practice, then I would go teach 2 gymnastics classes, then I would go to church and have basketball practice from 9 to 10, and then you eat dinner, and then you get up and you do the same fucking thing, but it's a different sport or a different school or whatever. But that was really my first job. And then by the time I was 15, I was working a lot, coaching, again, doing what I love, and doing choreography and making up routines. It was a lot of fun. And then competing too, on the cheer side and then on the gymnastics side. So that was at the peak of all of that, I would say. But my parents were never pageant parents that were you have to win. It was never, they're never competitive. It was just you do your best. And
do it because you love to do it. It's something that you enjoyed. They wanted you to do something you enjoyed. Not because, you have to, but, they're being a coach. I saw how awful the parents were to the kids and the coaches, and I mean, it's one of the reasons I ended up having to get out of it. Well, that and a few broken bones, but that's in another lifeline. So yeah, that kind of sums up. And I think I got my first boyfriend. His name 15?
was Scott. Yeah, I really didn't have time for boys. I wasn't into boys, but he was Catholic. He went to our church. My parents were head of the funeral committee for many years, super involved in the Catholic diocese. I mean, that's where I got into weddings, but that's a different time frame.
We'll get to that
oh my
time
God.
next.
Okay.
That's it for this week's episode of Business Unveiled. Now that you have all the tools that you need to conquer the world and GSD, get shit done, would you share this with your friends and fellow business leaders? One thing that would really, really help us and help new listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a comment in Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you tune in and listen to Business Unveiled. You can check out the show notes at angelaprofit.com/podcast and link up with us on social media so you can share your biggest insights. And I want to know your aha moments. Until next week, remember, the profitable shifts and structures you're creating in your business help you be more present in your life. So get out there and GSD.